Wait, what did you say? Johnny Depp versus The Sun? What?
The Sun UK. The Sun is like a tabloid.
Johnny Depp sued the Sun for shining too bright in the summer.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, presented by CinemaSins.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, a weekly look at everything going on inside the world of CinemaSins. I'm Aaron Dicer, and I'm joined as always by Jonathan Watkins.
Hello, hello.
And Danae Hughes.
It's with a P. Teddy Ruxpin.
We write for CinemaSins and TV Sins and do various other things inside the CinemaSins universe as well. Appreciate the education, Danae.
I thought you meant your name. I was so confused as to where you were going with that. Danae with a silent P.
That's right. It's like the pasta. It's like spelled like the pasta, pronounced like Danae. Panay Hughes. Panay Hughes.
Panay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Panay. Exactly. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the new year. Welcome to 2021.
Yay.
Yay!
You sound like me.
Yeah.
This is only what's like your first day, I guess, at work in the new year.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It is the Monday of the new year.
Doesn't quite feel like the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're a few days into the new year, and I'm already wondering if I should delete Instagram and Twitter.
I wrote my first 21 when I titled the recording this morning. So, because I always do the date.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's my first 21.
Yeah. I had a couple spreadsheets I had to put a 21 in, keeping track of movies and stuff.
I think I have a checkbook I could get out and just for fun write a fake check.
That used to be the thing, right? That used to be the thing, is writing the wrong date on your checks. And it's like, who writes checks anymore? And yes,
Nobody
I know
cares.
people do, but I'm just saying.
No, we don't. I was going to say I know we have like one, we write one person, we write one too, but not on a regular basis.
I don't think people care about checks anymore because Justin had to write a check for something. I think it was when he renewed his license or something like this.
Yeah.
And he pulled out his checkbook that has an address from like 13 years ago still on it. That's how few checks he just does not use them. And they didn't care. Like, how do you not care that the address is like over a decade old?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They don't.
A lot of places aren't taking them anymore either. So
Yeah.
like I know pizza places quit taking them, which that makes sense because I remember writing hot checks to pizza places back in the day.
Jonathan. How
Well,
dare
that makes it sound shadier than it really was. No,
All of a sudden,
No, that is like ultimate shade. There is no shadier than it is. Like, you straight up
the
stole
money-
pizza.
you are
The
Leo
money was there the next
DiCaprio.
day.
And catch me if you can.
No, it's like the night before the money
Oh,
deposit.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it's not really a hot check, but it's just the money's technically not in there yet.
Which is the definition of a
I know,
hot check.
but the money would eventually be in there, so it's not like
Sure.
My check's not bouncing, it's just ricocheting. There's a difference.
by the time it clears, the money's in the account. You're hoping.
Yeah, right,
You're hoping.
exactly.
Yeah, fingers
You're
crossed.
Hey guys, pizza guys, you need to be the first ones in line because if you're not, then my other purchase might come in
Dude,
first.
that is the thing about checks that people who've never lived with him don't realize is the balancing aspect of it was a real thing because people could wait to cash checks. So you couldn't go by your balance in your bank account. You had to go by the balance on your checkbook. And that's a whole different mindset.
I was watching a movie I think it was like from '89, and the character calls into the bank to see how much money's in his account. And I was like, oh, I remember that. Like, now you can just go online or, go on your app.
Right.
And immediately see, but like sometimes you didn't know, or you had to like go to an ATM and get a receipt just so you knew how much was in there.
Yep.
Well, we are as always glad to bring you the old people talk about what it used to be like portion of the program.
Remember maps?
Let's talk about those.
Paper maps where you had to
Dora.
look at a line.
I do remember that. Well, let's talk about some videos. Let's get into some behind the sins sin action. Let's start it off with
Sin action.
SinSide Scoop.
What's he building in there?
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
This is a true story.
We're going to take a look at the videos from the week, the process of sending them, how we felt about the stuff we're sending in general. And we finished up our Insta-Sin of Mandalorian Season 2 with the rescue. And I guess you know this going into Behind the Sins podcast. But
Spoilers!
we will
Sorry.
be spoiling things. I just felt,
You have to know. We're gonna spoil it.
More pressure to say it with this one just because of the big thing at the end.
I think you meant the Masturbatorian.
Yes. I think that is.
Masturbate lore. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lori, we apologize that you had to hear that.
The Mangorgazorium. Yeah, it's really hard to do this without it. This is why we don't live sin.
Yeah.
We called it a fangasm. Can't we just say the fangasm? Like, what it is.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
That would have been easier.
Yeah, this was a fun one. I was the lead writer on this one, and it was the most pressure I think I felt since, oh my gosh, it's been a long time. I feel a lot of pressure to deliver on, like, obviously the main channel scripts. I feel an immense amount of pressure whenever I'm up on the stage for that, so to speak. Not that the audience at large knows that any of us are writing on it, like, but
right.
I know that I need to perform on, like, TV Sins. I can just half-ass it. Let's just be honest.
You do not. You turn in great scripts. Maybe you should do that on all your scripts. Maybe you should just throw caution to the wind.
No, but this was a different level of pressure because it's the finale of the season, and such a huge reveal. And we're doing this really interesting thing on the channel, and it's like this, I don't know, everything needed to come together perfectly. So I put a lot of pressure on myself, I have to tell you. And thank God for Aaron. I was able to really lean into Aaron there in that day. But it was pretty much putting that script together was an entire 12-hour experience. Not like 12 hours nonstop working, but constantly being at the computer so that when one person got their notes in, I could turn it around as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So that we could get it wrapped up before Christmas. And while people are going on break, and also to try to figure out this fangasm moment.
Yeah.
Did you feel like 12 after 12 hours, you felt like the woman in Ted that was working at the cash register?
Take a drink. Jonathan has referenced the outtakes.
That's why
I referenced the outtakes in the first second.
Yeah,
so.
no, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was standing on those shoes all day. You said that.
Oh. It did feel like that, but I felt much better by the end of it because I was really proud of what we did. And also, it wasn't just one person, it wasn't just a 2-person script. Everybody had contributions to this one. So, and I think everybody was really invested in it being a really great final piece.
Yeah.
So, the pressure was on, and it was a lot, but I really love what we did for this one.
Yeah. So Danae was lead on this script, and Barrett wrote with her. So it was a huge share script. And then Jonathan shadowed and had some input. And then I just came in from the balcony and was like, I want stuff to say stuff too. And so we all just kind of...
It was really good, though, because this is the last moment. Like, for example, for Aaron, just making sure that the Dim-Driods stayed throughout so that it kind of became this seasonal thing that we did where sins that we created early on are still kind of peppered in the finale, which gives it a really fun flavor because it's almost like one long script in a way.
Yeah.
And so there's some continuity that's really fun. And without all of us weighing in, I know it wouldn't have been the same. And I like I said, I think it was a lot of fun. This is one of my favorite TV Sins videos that we've ever done, I think.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. Let's talk about the show itself and how we felt about season 2 finishing off. I thought it was a great way to finish what they were doing. I was surprised that they went, full Luke Skywalker. I was expecting somebody like from Clone Wars or like Ezra or somebody like that, and just to go full Luke, like I was like, wow, that's because that is, that's bold. And
and I think that's that wasn't really a cliffhanger. I guess it was like the end to a story. But
right.
That's fun when TV shows do stuff like that. Like it felt like one of those moments, like the Bob Newhart waking up next to, I can't remember that actor's name, but to his wife from another show. And no one's gonna get that because I'm old and I watch Newhart.
I get it. Oh, old. I'm old too.
Yeah, but it's like one of the most famous,
finales.
Series finales. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think it's a good choice because honestly, that is who needs to train him. Like that is the answer for who should train Grogu is Luke, and that adds a real depth in gravitas to the character of Grogu now, and kind of what that means in the future. And it's just such great. It's such great canon work. I just think they're doing such great canon work of the ways they're playing stories together and stuff. And I'm really enjoying it.
I'm also loving seeing Mark Hamill's reaction, as he's been kind of more on social media about it, calling it like one of the greatest gifts that Luke got to be in this. Because I think for those of us who are Luke Skywalker fans, getting to see him, knowing that it was him just freaking out on those droids was, I'm telling you, I had such a good time. I could watch that fight scene 10 more times, and that's so not like me. But whoever was doing like the acting in that moment, there's just one moment whenever he does a force push forward and he has like air in his cheeks and he kind of goes and he's like almost blowing. He was in the moment and it was so cool to watch. I love that whole sequence. Like the whole sequence almost just if there's a bad thing about it is that it eliminates the entire Mandalorian series. Like I don't remember anything anymore. It's brainwiped me. It becomes the one thing that I will remember from Mandalorian. Well, that and then the emotion of him giving up the goodbye between him and Grogu was really really emotional. I did cry.
Yeah.
I wonder if Grogu will be back. I hope so.
I can't imagine.
It seems strange to have him be such a central part of this series and not ever do like a wink and a nod to whom he becomes or what he is.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, but I mean, Grogu will probably become part of like a future series because that species lives for, Yoda was hundreds of years old. And so.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like there's, I agree. So you're right.
So
he
we'll
could
probably
be in other
see
shows.
him in a sequel show at some point as like an adult Grogu, which would be really cool.
I didn't mind also. I know like there's just no way for CGI to be as advanced as we want it to be for facial stuff. Like it's going to look weird. It's going to look like a creepy flesh puppet. Like that's just what it's going to look like. But I'm still glad that they did it. I'm glad that it was Luke. It's just such an homage to his character that we get to see him just in the height of his power. Yeah. Right? Just like absolutely just demolish shit from the moment he shows up, because he's such a presence that Grogu recognizes him. The Dim-Droids are like, what's going on? Like everything kind of like shifts to be who is this person. And I didn't know that it was Luke until his I saw
until the reveal.
Until the reveal, because I saw the glove and I thought, oh, he's wearing gloves. I genuinely wondered if it was going to be like a Sith Lord for a while.
Because, and he's got the green saber, but there are several Jedis that have green sabers. I mentioned Ezra. Ezra has a green saber as well, I believe. So, yeah.
Yeah, but Luke is better than Ezra.
Wait, I actually think I get that one. Isn't that a music thing?
Yeah, it's a band. I don't know who Ezra is. But that was another thing. I don't know if I guess I knew what time period this show took place, but I don't know that I was thinking about it, as I watched. So I was a little confused at first, and then I realized, oh, this takes place, in between Jedi and Force Awakens. So that makes sense, because I was like, wait, does this mean he was time traveling, or I was overthinking the twist.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting because there is a seed as well of the latest sequels of Luke training, like starting this kind of training camp, and eventually Kylo Ren's going to be there, and that's where the Knights of Ren are going to develop. And it's like I saw
Star Wars Hogwarts.
Yeah, basically, and so we know where that we know where that lands, and so kind of to see somewhat of the beginning of that is really exciting. And I did see a funny meme of Kylo looking at Grogu and saying, "I like you, kid. Don't come to school tomorrow." It's like, because that's going to happen at some point.
It's also to go on what Danae was saying. I thought they did a fine job with the effects. I mean, that was as good a job as I've ever seen. But that's never bothered me the way I think it does other people. I mean, it was weird, like in Rogue One, where you've literally got like Peter Cushing's face on somebody for so many scenes.
It's gotten better than that. Yeah.
Well, and I think because it was so I don't think like you could have him as a main character on the show.
Not
like,
yet.
That would be weird.
We'll
but
get
like
there, though. The technology is going to get there.
I think
Maybe.
I think that the reaction to Luke, to it being Luke, is such a, like there's certain things that are like, oh, this is just such fan service.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost feels like a throwaway. This doesn't feel that way. And it didn't feel that way about the women leads also. Everything just felt like it was the right time. And I don't know. I haven't liked something like this in a long time.
Yeah.
And so for this to be the way that it ends, it's such a good ending.
Yeah.
I get chills thinking about it. Like there's Mark just tweeted, it was just a couple days ago, about how he has no words for seeing all the fan reactions, and he linked to a YouTube video of fans reacting. And so I was clicking on it, watching it. I was just getting chills watching people going, that was me too, and I'm not a huge Star Wars person, but there was just such a power to it. It's almost like you can feel it in the air. And I don't know, it feels like a really good, it was a good way to end the series. I really loved it.
And I think that's go ahead, sorry.
Was the fangasm in that clip of reactions?
Oh my God, don't you wish it was?
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too, is it's a way for us as a channel to kind of like have a little bit of a reaction moment, but there's all of these YouTube channels that are based on reaction. They're like, and ours is more based on like we are reacting in this, humorous kind of way, nitpicking things in our comedic way. But that was us as fans being a part of this culture of reacting to this moment. And I think that's one of the reasons I love our fangasm so much, because we did it, but then we also kind of were like, all right, let's stay on topic though. Let's rewind and do this again.
Yeah.
But this is a really cool part of TV history. And I don't know that we've seen something that had that kind of moment. And I mean, this is going to go down. This will be like Who Shot JR? I Am Locutus.
Yeah.
Of Borg.
Red Wedding is probably the closest we've come to that moment.
Yeah.
And we kind of did a similar thing. We kind of did a similar thing with Red Wedding, where the narrator kind of lost their mind, and the Cine had to keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Aaron playing around with Cine.
Yeah. Yep.
And this kind of felt like it. I was really grateful again for that to be something that we worked really hard at this one. I don't think that I've worked this hard at so I talked about it last week. That Grinch sin that I did where it was sitting in the house, that did take me over an hour to write. This part of like the TV sins though, like it was a massive collaboration. Aaron and I got on a video call and we actually we started talking about what we wanted to be. We're getting all the timestamps together.
Well, for context, this was your idea. The fangasm thing was your idea, but you were having trouble landing on how to present it. And I think in the original script, both Jonathan and Barrett were also having trouble trying to figure out where you were going with that. And so we just got on video to try to work it out.
Yeah, I wrote in there and I was like, I can't get this out. So here's like the general idea. And it was really, it would be kind of like giving somebody a sketch of a room and saying, you have to just imagine paint and some carpet and like some stuff. And they're like, okay. So I needed help. And also Barrett's script, he sinned the whole part where I'm like fangirling out, like taking all these sins off. And so I wanted to merge the two together, but to go back and forth didn't feel right. And so it turned into where I'm like, this is the idea. So yeah, so Aaron jumped on the video with me and we just talked it out. And so we're like going through the video, getting timestamps, like reacting to each other in real time. Aaron's writing down prompts and pretty much it's like, okay, Aaron, you've got the general idea. Why don't you go and just start recording it and react as it's happening? Which, I mean, come on, Aaron, that was so much fun to listen to. I could listen to that part over and over and over again because it is just so funny. Like when you're like, and you push him and you stab him and you take off his leg. Like, I was like, that reminded me of our conversation. It was perfect. It was just exactly what I wanted it to be.
That is the first example in the history of my narration. I don't know what Jeremy's done, but it's the first example of reverse writing where the narration is done first. And then I go back and
timestamp
and type out what I actually said. So that is what you hear there is legitimately me trying to embody the narrator as he is watching that scene and then just writing it out afterwards.
Fun.
So in all other cases, the script comes first, other than maybe a little bit of improv here or there, but the script comes first and I just try to embody what the script says. And this was a different thing.
I did feel, though, that there was a couple times, and maybe it was just the creative crossover, but when we were on our video chat and I'm watching it, fangirling, and I'm like, and then he chops off his leg, and then like
Yeah, definitely.
I was so happy because, and there's a couple of times, like I said, in that fight where I was just like so pumped because it's just such a good fight. Anyway.
The light is sabering.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Should we get into the video though?
Yeah, let's get into the video.
Obviously, that's one of our favorite parts. I mean, for me, I can't speak for everybody. That's one of my favorite things of all time is the fangasm and then the regret afterwards. I love how you wrote that, Aaron, because that is something that you had to put together to bring that vision to life, was the transition from the guilt of like the fangasm guilt back into sin brain, and it just worked so perfectly. So that was one of my favorite parts.
Nice. Jonathan, why don't you kick us off? What were some of the stuff other stuff you liked from the video?
I think you're looking for the J.J. Abrams trilogy. It's right down the hall.
Yep.
Sending a Reddit thread that may or may not exist, I thought was really funny. Are we really rooting for her in reference to Finnick, which I just wanted to say absolutely I am.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think she's cool. Do you know anything or not? Are you scary? I thought it was
That was one of my favorites. Are you scary?
That's so good.
And then just like kind of like keeping everything close to the vest, even though it made no sense. But I think reckless secrecy is a supremely good idea for right now. Just like, why wouldn't you just say like, it's important that I hold the lightsaber? That might've been like the one thing about it I thought was, I know they're setting up probably the next big storyline, right?
Sure.
Or
yeah.
It's gotta be.
Something that's going to happen, which I'm cool with because I love Katie Sackhoff. I hope she's on, more, but, it just felt weird the way they did that. Like, why would that seems pretty important?
Well, and it is strange too because it is part of canon that has been discussed in, I believe, the Clone Wars. That's the thing with the Darksaber, but also it isn't because there was one moment in the Clone Wars where somebody just gave it to somebody else, so it feels like it can just be given. But anyhow,
and I mean, I guess she could have been a little concerned that he might want it, but like Mando made it pretty clear he didn't give a shit. Like you can have this, I don't care. So why wouldn't she be like, well, since you don't care,
right?
Yeah,
this is important.
Or like, hey, everybody, go look out the window. Oh, we battled.
Yeah. Something. There's got to be a way around that.
But at the very least, she should have said something like, hey, by the way, don't touch the saber. That's mine.
Yeah. Yep.
Don't touch the saber without consent.
Yeah, there you go.
Or something. I don't know.
I loved the joke. Wait, I know this one. Two Mandalorians walk into a bar. The bartender turns to the first one and says, "Why the long face?" And the second one says, "Don't test us." And the bartender says, "You mean man don't test us?" And then they kill him. I thought that was so great. And then I enjoyed, good to know Bo-Katan setting her phaser to maximum initiative. I'd hate to see how this plan would go down if she dialed that back to like 6.5.
Right.
That was really great. This universe has more nonsensical curse words than the forking good place. And then to follow that up with a bull shirt in the next sin was really great. And just for the behind the sins people, you never know. Maybe there's more good place swearing going on in the TV sin scripts. You never know.
You never know.
The young Wampa wins the Darksaber in battle, but this time it's a dance battle. Wamp the Yard, coming to Disney Plus fall 2021.
That's another one that was fun because it was a collaborative. Those collaborative moments are so great when in a script it's like you put in Wampa and then someone adds Wampa the Yard, and it's just such a great thing that we all get to do together.
Yep. What about you, Danae? What else did you want to mention?
Where are they bivouacked? Good Lord, that's a really personal question. I've never heard the word bivouac before, so I just thought that sounded very intense.
Did you look up what it means? Do you know now what a bivouac is?
No, I immediately forgot to continue to care about it. So
we'll just say it's an encampment.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, where are they? Where are they encamped?
Yeah,
but bivouacked is pretty cool.
It is
That's
a pretty cool
cool word. You mentioned the bull shirt one, but that sin being about, again, the sin off of the women. Like I had already said, I thought that was a really, really well done. But my question is, what happened to the dude? I did ask this before, and I think it was in our script process. When we first see like the Blue Man Group Mandos that come to save the Mandalorian whenever he was being potentially eaten by the Mama Corps, there was a guy in that group. And he's just gone. And I think it's probably so that it is a female lead, but I do find that to be a little strange. That was just something that I wrote down that I wanted to bring up. But I did like the sin-off for how they approached like the women.
Yeah, totally.
And then I really enjoyed how the delivery of the why can't Mando just go with the why can't Grogu just go with Mandalorian and the Jedi, and the sniffing and the whimpering at the very end. I just thought that was really well done.
The blowing of the nose.
The blowing of the nose.
Yes.
Yeah, just in general, a really great
Acting.
delivery by you. Congratulations on your
Well,
on
I
that
knew
one, Aaron.
Danae, because before I had watched the episode, Danae had just said something like, "Why am I crying?" And so when I watched it, I was like, "Oh, that must have been what she was talking about." And then I saw that sin.
Yeah.
It was interesting to me too that Grogu wasn't going to leave Mando until the really cool droid showed up. Let's just be honest.
He's like, "Oh, well, screw you, Mando. I'm
It's all
going."
about the toys.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like Iris isn't gonna. It's like if we need her to just leave us alone so we can go do adult things like clean the kitchen without interruption.
Yes, those kind of adult things. Yes.
By
Got
the
it.
way, it's
Here's the
Danae,
iPad.
It's R2D2. It's not R2P2.
Take another drink.
No, I think that actually got mentioned. Oh, that was the thing she was talking about.
Yeah, that was a
She
callback that she made.
Shit, man. I have to tell you, you crack me up. You fucking crack me up, man.
Thank you. I tried. That was my favorite thing this week, though, was when Chris got Aaron to laugh, and he said, "Well," he's like, "What did he say? Something like 1 in every 180 jokes you laugh."
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, good stuff.
All right.
That was a good conversation. Sorry, you had to let us go off on Mando.
No,
we
knew that was going to go
one.
out to talk about, and I hope you enjoyed kind of the behind the scenes
there was
on
an
that.
hour on Mando.
I promise
run
you,
through
this
everything
next
else.
one is super
Going to go
short.
so much quicker. It's Danae's favorite show, Doctor Who.
Fuck the show.
Voyage of the Damned. It was a Dicer Hughes script, and so we wrote on this one together. This is my least favorite of the Christmas specials, but I still do enjoy it.
I wonder why.
It's not great. It's not great. But you add to that, I think, Danae, and correct me if I'm wrong, you add to that the fact that the show is purposefully lo-fi. Like, it's very... because of the way Doctor Who kind of developed in the 50s and 60s, there's a bit of the show that is purpose lo-fi cheeseballness, that you add that to the fact that this just isn't a great episode and it's just super annoying to you. Is that kind of the equation, the math that happens with something like this?
I don't know. It's a strange experience. I feel a sense of guilt because I have literally said I enjoy low budget sci-fi, but for some reason, the last couple times I've watched Doctor Who, maybe I'm just coming in. I am watching it to sin it, so maybe that I'm doing the Who wrong. I don't know, because I know there's such a huge fan base for Doctor Who, and it's one of those things like I want to be a part of it. I want to be able to say, guys, I get it. It's so fun, blah, blah, blah. But this was trash. This was absolute bonkers trash. And I don't know.
Well, you've also got
Maybe I was in the wrong
the
mood. I
culture
don't
clash
know.
too. I mean, this is definitely an English show. It's not an American show, so there's definitely a culture switch as well, and a sense of humor. There's a real difference in the sense of humor.
I think I'm also operating a bit at a disadvantage in that when the show started and he's in some strange space and then it's pierced by the Titanic and then he's going into the Titanic. This may very well be how most of the episodes start. And I don't know what's going on because I'm like, oh, is he inside of this space? I still don't know enough about the lore to get to get what's going on.
Right.
So I'm almost like confused about what's happening around me. And then you add to it just the absolute like insanity of the show. I will say, I suppose that now that we're so far out from writing it, I'm not as traumatized. But trying to write on this one for whatever reason was just like teeth pulling for me as well.
No,
which
I
really,
know you definitely expressed it. You hate
I was
watched
not having
this
a good
thing.
time.
And what's interesting with those, and we've talked about this before, and we all have those experiences where we literally just hate what we're watching. What's interesting is to continue to remember to work together to make it fun. Right? Like to make it fun for the audience, even though it's not fun for you.
Which I was not.
Right. We have to make it fun for the audience. So
that was just like, that's like when Aaron and I have done American Horror Story.
Yes.
Aaron just come in like, I got nothing else.
Yes.
Like,
exactly. Yeah.
This one was difficult. I think part of it too is just, it's so ridiculous. This is such a ridiculous thing. And it's so overacted. And it doesn't go anywhere. There's the moment whenever he's talking to Astrid and she's talking about like she wants to travel the stars. Like, why are they attracted to each other? Why are they interested in each other? Why are they even like having this connection? And she just looks so crazy, like as she's looking out at the stars. And I'm trying to read her facial expression, and I'm just confused. Like, is she a robot? It's so over the top. Everything is so much. It's just so much.
The Doctor was born with the extra gene. Like that is one common thing about the Doctor. Whoever's playing them is they are like eccentric. It's like hugely eccentric.
Okay.
So, and he's also on the rebound here as well. Like he's also coming off of like a very meaningful relationship.
And it's Kylie Minogue.
Well, there is that as well. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
She's pretty.
Yeah. Jonathan, you're not into Doctor Who, so your reference is just kind of what we're watching here, right?
Yeah, I watched it because I shadowed on it, but I don't hate it or anything. I've just never really gotten into it. It's just for whatever reason. I like Danae. I want to be a part of it because it seems fun, But
yeah.
Well,
but this was my least favorite of the ones that I've seen. This was definitely my least favorite episode.
Well, and our annual thing has been to do the Christmas specials. That's what we're doing. We're just doing the Christmas specials in order, and this is the third Christmas special. So
aren't those kind of like almost one-offs?
Oh, they're absolutely one-offs.
They do have some continuity in them, I guess, but
right.
But they're kind of like the
See, this is the thing,
House of Horror.
Right. This is the thing you are missing in probably the primary reason I love Doctor Who is the seasonal arcs. Like the mystery and the puzzle box nature of the seasons are really done well. They still have the over-the-topness, the cheese, all that stuff that you don't like. So I'm not saying you'll like it. I'm just saying there's a difference between these one-offs where they're supposed to be, self-contained stories and how well this show does characters throughout seasons.
I just have a question real quick before we go on. Was it really Kylie Minogue?
Minogue? Yeah, that's Kylie Minogue. Yeah.
I don't know who that is. Is this an important person?
She's a singer / actor. She in the 80s she did a cover of Locomotion, which was I guess pretty popular.
Hits. Yeah,
and then she kind of came like she's always been very popular overseas. I think in the U.S., but she's had some hits in the U.S.
She has.
Can't Get You Out of My Head, which was 10 or 12 years ago, maybe.
We listed several of them in one of the sins.
Yeah,
but I thought that was just maybe she was a lookalike or there was something that I missed.
No,
I genuinely didn't know that was her acting.
She's also well known for having an affair with Jean-Claude Van Damme when he was married.
This is how little I cared about the script. And this is where, for as much as I worked super hard on Mandalorian, how much I was just like, I flipped the bird and was like, I don't even care that I understand
it's just
what
give
this
and take.
is. Let's just get done with this so that I can move on with my life. Because I swear to God, that forklift scene, it killed me.
It's great.
I died. No, it's not
so
great. It's so dumb.
Danae and I had a Zoom call about something when you were working on this, and you were just like, "Oh my God, let me tell you about Doctor Who."
It is so bad. There is a forklift scene in this that is literally a forklift that cannot go more than 2 miles an hour. It is so slow. And it just slowly moves towards the other guy who is just ahead in a cart. And they just ram each other. And thinking that maybe it would just be she pushes him over the edge. No, they struggle back and forth for like a good minute. And then after that, and the whole time, Doctor Who is just over in the corner going, no! Just real slow-mo. And then it slowly pushes him over the edge. And there's plenty of time for her to have jumped out and saved herself. But for the drama, the next person goes into the
you got to get
reactor.
that cool falling shot that they did exactly the same on every single person that fell
It
in
was
this episode.
so bad. This whole thing, and mind you, again, no women actually survived this.
Yeah, that was great. That was my favorite scene.
Well, let's continue into that, Jonathan. What were some of your favorite sins?
You know what's absent from the outside of this ship? Life preservers. I thought was, and then there was a callback to that. I love that we mentioned Wesley. We took taking Wesley Snipes' name in vain when the Passenger 57 got mentioned. Mm-hmm. The zoom close up. Bit was very funny.
My God, that stuff, it just went on forever.
But actually, I'm sorry, no, my favorite,
so long.
My other favorite scene was, we're probably meant to be okay with the couple dying because they were severely in debt. I thought was a great.
Yeah.
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 They have this big reveal that like, oh, when we go back home, we're going to be so in debt. So then, well, this is just a good place for them to just die then.
And then how like ridiculous it was that the situations people kept putting themselves into to get killed where they didn't need to at all.
At all.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah. Danae, what about you? What were some of the ones that you had written down?
Talking with your mouth open. I mean, eating with your mouth full. I mean, whatever this guy is doing, swallow your food, man. I appreciated that because, again, Aaron, he really helped every single one of my sins on this one. He probably had some sort of embellishment or aid in every one of them because they were just all pure rage. Because civilization knows enough about Earth to create a replica of Titanic, but not to understand who Santa is. Oh, that was a really good thing to point out. Even more backstory, but this time with fiery console mood lighting mixed with a scent of charred rubber and imminent death. So, and then I got to say that I'm rooting for characters' death because some of my rage did make it through to the final. And then the jump. Well, this seems like the only reasonable option here. Carry on.
Yeah. Like, why did you, you had him wrapped up in a rope. Why did you have to jump off with him? Like, it's the decision making in this is crazy. And what happened to the
wings that they couldn't just fly away?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember when I was reviewing the script, that part where it was like, I want everybody to die. I almost I was thinking about noting that, like, this might be a little just mean, but then I was scared that Danae would get mad at me for suggesting that because she was clearly, not happy with any of this. So,
yeah.
That's not the reason I didn't note it. But I was like, no, I think that works. But it was right on the edge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It
is right on the edge.
I also wanted to mention just a couple more. The sin about the most well-known vessel of all time, and somewhere on the planet below, the Batmobile weeps silently, plotting its revenge alongside a DeLorean and the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. And
the whole thing about they knew how to replicate the Titanic, but they didn't know anything else about Earth.
It's just silly.
Here's the thing about this show. I have no idea if this is meant to be a flaming asteroid chunk flinging through the window or if it's just a moist alien turd pellet.
That's what it looked like.
See, I can write non-hate-filled sins sometimes, I guess.
Right, yeah. And then the head count for the Discount Poseidon Adventure group, Kylie, Professor in the Plums, Darth Small, a guy who is somehow even more of a butthole than Billy Zane. Okay, I think we're ready. Enjoyed that as well. It's fun for me. I love Doctor Who, and it's so fun to sin. And lesson learned, Jonathan, you and I will be the ones on the Doctor Who scripts from here on out. We won't force Danae to do that.
Only if you think I provide trash. If my rage can fuel something that's wonderful, I have to resign that it's like what Chris said. If he finds out you hate something, you're doing it again.
Yeah.
So I fully expect if there's a Love Actually 2, I know my fate is sealed.
No, now that you mention it, you're going to be on all the Doctor Who's from here on out. So
yeah.
So thank you for mentioning that. I appreciate that. You're volunteering. All right, let's move on to music video sins. Bebe Rexha, baby, I'm jealous.
What is this?
Yeah, what is this? Jonathan, tell us. Help us out. What is this?
It's a really fun pop song.
Okay.
What do you mean? I actually quite like this song. No, I like Baby Rexha, and I think, did Barrett have anything to say about it? I don't want to step on his toes.
I just wanted to use this opportunity to deny the concept that I'm the horniest narrator / Sins member, which came up on the last episode. Oopsie. Oh yeah, hi Barrett. Thanks for listening to the show. I'm at the very most the 3.5th horniest Sins member, and probably the 1.7th horniest narrator. Also, Baby I'm Jealous is kind of a banger. I'm a bit of a closeted Bebe Rexha fan. I don't know if I said that correctly. And I've been intrigued by everything I've heard from Doja Cat.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
I mean, that's fine. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I didn't love it or anything, but it was enjoyable. And yeah.
The introduction was incredibly long, though.
No, the video itself
video's awful.
Is not good. But the song.
Okay, because I haven't listened to the song. I just watched the Sins video. Mm-hmm. And the long intro was enough to just...
No, it's terrible. And it's like a really, it's one of those, remember when we didn't have to look at our phone? I don't know. It's dumb.
It was really, maybe somebody thought it looked good on paper. Do you know, it reminded me of like a school project when you're all get around the table and you have to create some sort of script for like a school project. It didn't feel like it should be something that was put in front of millions of people.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about the video itself. I guess I can kick us off on this one. The whole rant about what is this line, why is this line, who is this line, is just so perfect. And, just really calling into question, what the lyrics are saying is my favorite thing about music video Sins. I love that stuff. So that was always going to appeal to me. Hardee's commercials being said, I thought was really funny. And the end of the scene where he says, look, I don't make the rules. And he goes, wait a minute. Of course I make the rules. I really enjoyed that one. And then obviously, but what does that have to do with the actual video? Seems like a better title for this song is Baby, I Want to Try Everything in Wardrobe. I thought that was really funny as well. What about you guys, Danae?
You mentioned the ones I had besides most people don't know that L'Oreal dropped their first bright red hair dye in 10,089 BC, which I thought was really, really funny.
Jonathan?
Anytime Barrett can do a vanity, it's my favorite sin. I always enjoy that. It's like this video was made in the 1960s was very funny. Guest rapping in your own song when you have a guest rapper. And I just like those sunglasses. Yeah,
those are really interesting sunglasses. We're bringing back some sunglass style.
Mm-hmm. Of course we are, because everything has to come back.
It does.
And speaking of coming back, we're coming back to the Mutants with New Mutants, and this movie was so troubled of a production and kind of got held for so long. I don't know all of the details other than I know they did a lot of messing around with it. I know part of it was the Disney-Fox merger, or not merger, but acquisition. And so, then Disney had to figure out how they wanted to use the movie. Then it was released during the pandemic with no fanfare, no advertising, nothing. The creator was really upset with a lot of the things they chose to do with his characters. It was one of those stories, and it was so troubled that by the time I watched it, my expectations had been lowered so much. I actually kind of had a fun time watching this movie. And so it was one of those fun experiences where it's I have no expectations and I kind of like this.
Yeah, no, it was fine. I actually had watched it for the first time about a week or two before I got assigned the script. And so this was the second time I watched it when I wrote it. And no, it's perfectly fine. It's not great. I don't even know how good it is, but it's very watchable. Mm-hmm. It's better than the last few couple X-Men movies,
sure.
In my opinion. It's weird though. Fox because I know Disney released it as is. They didn't touch it. They just decided to just release it as is. So, but I guess Fox must have messed with it before that. And and then like you said, and I think there's a reason it got released in the theater had something to do with the contract of the film itself. It was a guarantee that they had to meet. I don't know, something. But anyways, it is kind of a mess, but it is a watchable mess, I guess. In the end, there's just so much more they could have done with it.
It's enough of a mess that these are literally the only characters not appearing in Spider-Man 3. So,
But I did like, but we pointed out like, this idea of doing something different with a comic book movie and doing something like this is
doing a little horror
really
movie.
cool.
Yeah.
But they could have done better, I guess.
Yeah, I totally agree. Danae, I'm assuming you haven't taken time to see New Mutants.
No, which I don't. This would be one that I would probably be interested in because I do love X-Men.
I was going to say, actually, there are some things you'd like about this.
And there are some other things about like the more gritty reality kind of style that I do also really enjoy. So when I was watching the Sins video, I kind of felt myself like, oh, this looks like something that I could enjoy. Is it really bad, or is it we're just sinning because that's our job, or was this really bad? And I don't know that I'm enough invested to try to like go watch it and figure it out for myself, which says something. But I am curious about it. I'm curious about what it was supposed to be, or these powers, or like the intention of it. So it's definitely one that I have pulled up on a tab to do some research on.
I think Josh, is it Josh Boone? Is that who directed it? I think he said it was, Breakfast Club meets Nightmare on Elm Street, and that's kind of what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of questions about like the powers and who they are, and genuine things. Why does she have a dragon? Why are her eyes blue? Why does she make a teleportation and then she doesn't use it? Like all that stuff is just something, but those are not questions that we have to go in now. It's just stuff that I'm going to probably go read about.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and head into the Sins then. I didn't mention this is a Scott Watkins script, so Jeremy and Jonathan wrote on this. So did Jeremy have anything to say about New Mutants?
He did. He said it took so long for New Mutants to come out that it ended up being kind of charming to me. Not great, maybe not even good, but well-intentioned. Opinions. Anya Taylor-Joy is a great actress, just not in this movie. The movie has so much in common with Glass, which was filmed after, that I'm surprised Anya Taylor-Joy didn't speak up on the set of Glass and say, this is all very familiar. Or maybe she did and M. Night ignored her. School ground settings, but it's really a prison for superpowered people. They have vague group therapy sessions. The doctor in charge is evil. Anya Taylor-Joy is in this. I mean, Jesus. Next thought. The lesbian love story is adorable and not presented in a here, look at what we're doing kind of way. It feels very natural and sweet. Next opinion. I guess my favorite thing to sin here was probably the background stuff on the shelf, which is like a Jeremy staple. Why does this place have 4 fucking tambourines? Why? Next thought.
It's for Tambourine Day, of course.
Of course. I also enjoy the sin where he says, we can't help each other if we don't talk to each other. And the sin is, tell that to the Blue Man Group. Next thought. But the biggest sin by far is the main girl going into the large herd shower, choosing the shower right next to the only other one being used, standing under it naked and turning on the water. The only way this works is if they'd shot the scene enough times for the water to be warm and she knew it would be warm. Otherwise, this is criminal behavior of the highest order. I literally freaked out when I saw this happening. What kind of psycho stands under the spigot and lets cold water hit them for several seconds or longer?
Agree, 100% agree.
Yeah, he mentioned that a few times. We were going back and forth with notes, so that bothered him.
Does anybody do that? Everybody waits for the temperature to be right?
I think so. I mean, I stand in there. I'll move it nozzle a little bit away from me. I don't know that I've ever had it just shoot directly on me, but I've never really thought about it.
I don't step into the shower until the temperature's right. I use my hand and get the temperature right.
There was one day in school when I was becoming a licensed massage therapist in the medical community wing, not the spa fluff and buff massage. I want to say that because I feel like it makes me more legit. Anyway, we had this class and we were learning about hydrotherapy that day. So we all went to the Y, and part of our therapy that day was literally standing under a cold shower and then getting into the pool to feel the warmth switches.
Sure.
And then and then cycling back out. We had to do it like 3 or 4 times just so that we could feel what ice does to our body and then what the warm does to the body. And then we also had to change things up and like get in the whirlpool and then get in the pool so we could feel body temperature shifts. It was like torture. I would never, ever choose to get into a shower that is cold, but we literally just had to hover under showers in the cold. It sounds terrible. It sounds like we were being tortured. We probably were a little bit, but it was for science. So
I mean, and I take cold showers. Like that is something I will do. Not for the cliche reason that people always say take cold showers. No, just because
No, you go to the Fluff and Buff for that.
I think that there is something really refreshing about a nice cold shower, and so I will take cold showers. But I still, even in that instance, get the temperature right before I get in. Like there is something really off-putting about somebody who just turns on the shower and whatever temperature it is, they're just going to let them, hit all over them. Like that's just crazy to me. So yeah, I definitely had that one written down as well. I'll just continue on talking about some of the other ones that I had written down. Stupid hard to find inner bears. It gave me an audible giggle. I wrote down the sin where he imitates the scream. It's kind of a version of the no sin, but it's the R-A-R-R sin or whatever. But I wrote it down because in the script, the notes in the script are hilarious, and I don't know who did it, if this was you or Jeremy.
Is it the Adele one?
Yeah, it's like say this like Adele, but with a few syllables. And I'm in my brain trying to figure out like, and again, he's noting himself here, so he knows what he's talking about. But I can, for the life of me, can't figure out what he's saying sounds like Adele in any way, shape, or form. So that one was really interesting to me. The sinning sequence, and then also the callback. This is a game that's even worse than sequence. It really made me laugh. I'm betting She's a Bear. Put $200 on She's a Bear to win. Made me laugh. And so naturally her other power is making crayons move. Was really funny. And then the biggest, quickest, almost subtle sin in this was demons can't come in churches. Demons can't come in churches. Not even from Oral. That just absolutely slayed me. Well done on that.
That was funny. The one about where he said, "Oh crap, I just lost my train of thought." That she's a bear. That was funny because Jeremy hadn't seen the movie, so that was literally him guessing that that's what it was. Yeah, and then he ended up being wrong. So then he wrote that other sin about, I was wrong. But so that's why he decided just to keep it in because he thought it was funnier. Yeah. And I was like, I totally agree.
He wasn't really wrong.
No,
he was close enough.
No, but I think he literally thought like she was like a werewolf or something. Like, but she was a bear, you know. But yeah, that was a really funny thing. Like,
we call those werebears. They're distant cousins of the Care Bears.
But even you're using your sin where you were incorrect to make another sin. Yeah, it's just like.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yep. It's called doubling down. Danae, what about you?
The waking up handcuffed to a hospital bed. Trust me, this is a sin.
Yeah.
Kind of made me pause and think. This one I wrote down, it was when that says parents sent him here to be cured. Is there a cure for being an asshole? And then the sin is having narrated almost 900 of these videos. I'm starting to think there isn't. Mm-hmm. Has he really narrated almost 900?
Yeah, no,
or is that like is that because I'm like, oh my God, wait, what?
I looked up, well, he's narrated more than that, but CinemaSins, yeah, I looked up, I looked up the video count. So I can't remember what it was at that time.
But it's over 900? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jeez, Lapete.
I mean, if CinemaSins only, it's 2 a week.
Right.
Or it was 1 a week for a little bit, and then 2 a week. But
and then
8 years ago.
8 years, and then there's also when he was doing TV sins, when he did music video sins for a while.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think the number just kind of blew my mind a bit, just thinking about how much he's invested, not just in script writing, but in also just being the voice of all of the work that we do. So
yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
I had heard showers, but I think hearing Jeremy talk about it in his notes was plenty fine. Mm-hmm. And then the demon bear doing whatever a demon bear does. I just really enjoyed that as well.
Yeah. Jonathan, what else did you want to mention?
Covering your junk with junk. I thought was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one that killed me that Jeremy wrote, because no one will be seated during the scene where they show this goddamn statue for the 14th fucking time, because they really do. They show that statue constantly, and it is weird, like because it has nothing to do with anything. They just keep showing it. And then the Unbreakable outtake worked out so perfectly.
Yeah.
As far as outtakes go, that was really nice to get in there.
Yep. Yeah, very well done. Really enjoyed it. I laughed quite a bit during this one. All right, let's move on to The Old Guard. This was a Dicer Watkins script. Jonathan and I writing on The Old Guard. Yeah.
Now, is this the first time that a B team has done a full script?
No, Jonathan and I used to do scripts all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And maybe it means something that we don't anymore.
Oh, shoot.
I think it just means we're working more on TV Sins.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but yeah. So Jonathan and I wrote on this one. Let's talk about this movie. Jonathan, do you hate it or just not like it?
I just don't like it. I liked it less though, but we did a mini pod on it, me and you and Barrett and Chris.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I didn't like it then, and so this was the next time I watched it, the second time I watched it, and I liked it less. I just don't like it. I just don't think it's good. I do the things that you mentioned, the big scene with the two guys, declaring their love for each other. I think that's a really nice moment. And there's a few other moments that are nice, but. Yeah. Overall, I don't know, just can't really get into it.
I had the exact opposite reaction. Mm-hmm. I liked it when I watched it the first time, and I liked it more the second time. And I think it was because I had started to convince myself that I was wrong for liking it, just because there's so many people who don't. And when I watched it the second time, I'm going, no, I really like this. No, this is really fun. I love this character. I love this world. And yeah, that's kind of what it comes down for me is I really like the world building here. And I know similar things have been done in other movies. I know this is not the first time we're dealing with Immortals. I also think Charlize is always going to notch things up for me. I just think she's incredible.
Yeah,
I think she's an incredible actor, and I think she elevates the material she's in. This is not the first movie recently that I like primarily because of her and her performance. I just think she does such an incredible job. I just believe her. I believe her in everything she does. She feels so authentic to me.
It was really funny though. You were you weren't like defensive, but it was just. Some of the notes you wrote back to me were kind of like, what? But this is what this scene means. And
yeah, we all have that thing sometimes.
It's like, dude, we're supposed to be sinning this movie. So
yes, exactly. Yeah, we all have those moments where we turn into fans sometimes when we're sinning stuff. Yeah. No.
I do not. Yeah, one thing Aaron and I disagree on, and I ended up taking it out, and we just because I do think the moment's really nice between the two guys. Declaring their love for each other. But I'm not a fan of there at the end where there's kind of like a gay panic moment. And Aaron thinks that actually sells the scene.
Oh, in that scene?
I have the opposite reaction to that for some reason, So we had but I just took it out, and because I did like the moment, and I like how we just took the sins off and didn't say anything.
Yeah, we had a lot of discussion about that scene and what we wanted to do with it, and I'm really glad we landed where we landed. As I was looking through the comments preparing for the show, I was even more glad we landed where we landed. There were a lot of people that were really appreciative of just kind of that thing where we just take a few sins off for something that's just really beautiful. And
let me make it clear. I feel bad though, because I wasn't trying to say Aaron likes gay panic jokes. That's not what I meant. I'm just saying that is how the scene played to me. But then Aaron came at and said, well, but I can't explain it. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I can go there if you want to. I think the idea was you rightfully were sinning the bad guy's gay panic and in some ways addressing that to the movie. Like the movie is using gay panic as part of its thing, but the movie is using it in a way I've never seen it used before, where it takes a second to have the gay panic moment that is the cliche. And then has the characters actually address it in such a deep, powerful way. And to be, because the joke is, what is he, your husband? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, or your boyfriend. What is he, your boyfriend? And then to have him be like, yeah, and this, and more. He's more than a boyfriend. It was really, really powerful. And so I think that was the point. So it felt a little weird to me to sin the gay panic nature when that's
and I agree.
The movie's doing that itself. Yeah,
that's what I was trying to say. So thank you for explaining that. No, I agree. Once you said it that way, I was like, oh no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Danae just would have been like, people having emotions.
People. I would have been just like, skip. I would have just skipped it. I'd been like, oh, this is important. Skip.
No, it is cool because that is a cool moment though, because it's like action movies are just so testosterone fueled and everything. And you don't, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you don't get like quiet moments like that a lot.
No. And these guys have testosterone. They're fueled by
Absolutely.
testosterone. They just love each
absolutely.
other's testosterone. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Danae, I'm sure you haven't gotten around to seeing the Old Guard. This is another one like New Mutants I think you might actually enjoy.
It was another one where I thought this has some interesting elements that I think I would be interested in. The idea of an immortal group of people, a mystery, and that sort of thing. And I kind of found as the sins were rolling in that my instinct was to kind of be like, ooh, but I could ignore that for the good of the story. So yeah, this is definitely one. And I love Charlize. I mean,
yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's incredible.
I love her. So,
I wish like we send these things. I wish they had thought a little more about the villain. Because the big pharma thing is just, I don't know.
Yes, it's the worst part of this movie.
Yeah.
It really is. It's so meaningless.
And,
it's so villainy. It's just, it's bad.
And I love, is it Chiwetel Ejiofor? How do you say
Chiwetel Ejiofor, I think.
I love him, but his character, and we send this to his character I don't know. I had a hard time, grasping how he even figured any of this out.
Sure. Well, didn't you see his serial killer dream boards?
Exactly. And then just his, which I mean, you get like, there's been a lot of characters like that in movies where they feel like they're doing something for the good, but but I just can't, but the way they played his character, I can't believe for a second he thought what he was doing was right. But I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, sure. I think
those are the couple things I wish they'd paid a little more attention to.
Sure.
It is what it is.
Danae, you're going to kick us off since Jonathan and I wrote on this. What were some of your favorite sins?
Every single one that I wrote down is a one-liner. Just those are the ones that really stood out to me and kind of got me this time. But it was giving someone a book as a gift, bringing whatever this is to a gunfight, which
we know it's an axe,
funny.
but it just looks so funny.
I didn't know it was an axe.
Yeah.
It looked like a staff.
Yeah, it
that
does.
would cast
It looked like
spells or
the Indiana Jones staff. Like or the staff of Ra or something like that. Yeah.
It looked like a World of Warcraft item, something that you would attach to your back that's just overly ridiculously massive.
I read that wrong, and I actually changed it to battle axe, and Aaron's like, no, that's what I meant. I meant like, I don't.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So I was like, well, I'm dumb.
The line is the women are holed up in the house with the arches, and the sin is, I mean, you can just say McDonald's.
That's great.
Made me laugh. But you can call me Andy, and the sin is finishing conversations with the unconscious, repeatedly kicking someone you cannot kill, and the old guard to the old garter. I just thought that was really funny. So,
yeah, definitely.
well done.
Jonathan, you want to go next?
Well, I wanted to mention waving at your sniper because we both wrote that sin.
Exactly the same. We both
Yeah.
literally wrote
Old
waving
garter?
at your sniper.
Oh, waving at your sniper. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it was such a funny moment because he's like, hey.
Yeah.
Sending the selfie technique was really funny.
Bad.
Yeah. Where is astral projection camera and why? And then movie should have been titled Andy and the Immortals. That was one of those when I was writing the sin. I was like, oh, and the movie should have been called this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, good stuff. Movie somehow finds a way to make its location subtitles more distracting than Captain America: Civil War. I really loved that. The world can burn for all I care, and then Twitter, so appropriate. And then the double bubble sin, because it's awful gum, and also because they choose to spell the words the same. So we gave them 2 sins.
That one got some shout outs and love
It
on
did,
Twitter.
Yeah.
The sudden Dudley Dursley, because he doesn't look anything like he did when he was a kid in the Harry Potter movies. I thought that was great. And people were commenting on that as well. The healing of the braids after the gunshot to the head.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Russian foreshadowing, Rush-shadowing, Chekhov's Russian. I really loved just for the fact that Chekhov is indeed actually Russian. Let's see. The drowning over and over again for 500 years is some of the most messed up stuff I've ever heard in a movie. It's almost worth a sin off, but then again, it makes me sad, and I don't like being sad. I thought that was good. And then This might not be the point of this scene, but I think this car is illegally parked.
Oh my God. That was so
great.
hilarious.
So good. So very, very good. All right, let's move on to keeping tabs.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
Oh, jeez.
This is the most public yet of my many humiliations.
We're just going to talk a little bit about the process of the sins. Who wants to go first? Who wants to tell us what they're
I'll
keeping
just
tab
say
on?
I didn't really have anything that interesting. I looked up some stuff on how to play sequence.
Nice.
Because I didn't know what I was going to do, and I never played it. And then I was like, wow, this game sounds terrible. So, and it sounds like something Aaron probably loves. So I think I'm going to make fun of it.
We do play sequence at our house. Yes, we do.
And no, but I'm sure it's fun. I couldn't figure out. It was very confusing when I read about it. And then I looked up how many videos we've done for CinemaSins, which we already talked about. Yeah. And I did some research on X-Men villains and Mr. Sinister and all that stuff, which we did do a little sin about that, but I still can't. It's crazy to me. It's like it maybe it's not the same thing, but it'd be like if there had been 7 Fantastic Four movies and Doctor Doom hadn't been a villain yet. That's kind of how it feels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I didn't do a whole lot of in-depth research or weird stuff this week.
Danae, what about you?
I definitely looked some stuff up for Ted. Just a few quick things that I searched. Does Ted smoke weed properly?
Now, just for clarity here, we have not talked about Ted in this episode yet. That comes in the outtakes. So
no, I know, but that's all I have for you.
No, it's fine. I just want for somebody
That's
listening,
hilarious.
like, wait, did I miss the Ted section of the conversation?
No, I just thought I'd just jump right into it because I knew that I researched some fun things for that. I don't want to talk about Doctor Who ever again and Mandalorian. I just fangirled out on. So yes, the other things I looked up for Ted are how do you properly wash a teddy bear, and can you put a teddy bear into a bath? Because there's this moment whenever he bathes, and I thought that would be a really poor idea. Like, how would he even be able to get himself out? Which just there's so many anatomy questions in Ted anyway. Turns out there are videos on YouTube of people giving teddy bears baths. So I watched one of those.
There are.
It made me very uncomfortable. And that's all that I have this week.
And if you want to watch Ted, go to patreon.com, right? /CinemaSins.
That's true. Yeah. If you're a Sin Club member, you can watch the Ted video. That is true. That has been on there, as well as some of the new Sinmentaries we're doing, the Sin commentaries, where we're having the writers talk about the videos as they watch them together. Those are fun too. Yeah. I am just going to quickly mention that it was nice to do a Super Taster shout out in the Old Guard
that
video.
was cool.
And then also behind the scenes, I was trying to think of the movie that had the weighing the gun by knowing there were bullets in it by weighing it.
Fun.
And we had this huge conversation in our Slack, and everybody was trying to figure it out, and we eventually got there, and it was in the line of fire, which I used in the sin. So
what was so funny about that is we were all like, Aaron, oh my gosh, I totally forgot that you did that. But then all of a sudden I'm having all this rush back of memory because you post something that's essentially, hey, I'm doing this thing for a script. What's the movie where somebody can tell there's
no bullets in the gun because of the weight? Yeah.
And so suddenly everyone's just jumping in on it. And I didn't comment because I'm terrible at this anyway, but I started to Google it. And then Jeremy comments, I'm on it, I'm Googling it. And you've got all these people. And so several minutes later, Aaron's like, found it. I just remember Jerry being like, well, what the hell, man?
It's like, why'd you waste all our time then if you were just going to find it yourself?
Yeah, it was almost, he was disappointed that he didn't find it.
Yeah.
But it's just a testament to how much this team loves to just jump on and do stuff like that.
Yeah. And then I wanted to finish with a first. The very first audio keeping tabs. I have taken a section of my narration recording that I would like to play for you because there are just these moments that I think you might enjoy where I have trouble pronouncing certain things, and it's just kind of one. It's like there's. I was actually looking for something else in the. What's that?
What is it? What's the penguin thing?
Oh, penwing.
The penwing.
Yes. I keep saying penwing. No, but it is one of those things where it it just happens. So we'll take a listen to it, and if it doesn't work, then we'll never do an audio sin again. But but I did want you to hear this. Here you go. Comments do, because they're made of ice, but you distinctly said meteor, so my actually stance. So my actually oh man. Actually Nope.
Nope.
My tongue does not want to do that. Actually-ing.
Oh no.
Actually-ing. Nope. So my actually-ing stands. Hey, yeah. That was pretty good.
He did it.
To be fair, that's not a word. So
good.
That's that is difficult sometimes.
Oh,
I can't even imagine the stuff
God.
we make you guys say sometimes.
Congratulations. That's a tough one. Thanks for sharing that, though. That's great.
Well, I thought people might find that interesting because, it is the perspective when you watch these things that the narrator just reads all this stuff, and it is so different than that when you're recording. And there are so many instances of me struggling through something and then giving myself a pat on the back at the end, like I did there, where it's like, hey,
I did it.
That one was actually okay.
Yay!
So.
I'm just imagining like Ashley laughing while trying to put all that together.
So anyhow, I thought you guys might enjoy that one.
That was funny.
So there you go, a little audio keeping tabs. If that's something you like, let me know. I
can't say it.
It's a hard one for me. I have trouble with the word regularly because of the L's. And so anytime there's like multiple L's next to each other, my mouth just doesn't want to do it. So, yeah. The funniest story with that, I don't know if I've told that on this podcast. I'm sure I've told it publicly somewhere before, but the funniest story with my trouble with consecutive L's is after I went through my medical event where I had died for a little bit and then, I'm recovering, that kind of stuff. And I was talking about the stats about recovery from what I went through, and they're pretty stark. Like, I think the stat I was talking about was how many people come through what I came through, not in the hospital, actually come through without any brain damage. And it's a very low percentage, like, 4%, 3%, something like that. And so I'm saying, so the stats say that there's only, 3% of people like me who have come through without any neurological damage.
It's like, oh no, is it happening again?
And everybody in the room just died.
Well, I mean, at first I think you'd be concerned, like, oh my God, is he like something else? Is he having a stroke?
Right, yes,
like,
no, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. So anyhow, it can come in handy to be able to say words that have multiple L's next to each other. All right, let's move on to the comments section.
I want to know what you're thinking.
I appreciate your honesty. You're a real straight shooter.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers.
We're going to talk about a comment from the week's videos, or possibly Discord or Twitter or wherever else you want to pull them from. I'll start on this one. I wanted to talk about the Old Guard video. The comment is this: do humans have an off button on the side of their neck? In fact, yes, we do. If you smack someone in the carotid, thank you.
Yeah.
When you smack someone,
ironically, there are no L's in that one.
L's, no L's there. Just totally forgot that word. If you smack someone in the carotid artery hard enough, it can cause a sudden surge of blood to the brain that can cause syncope. Syncope. Let's go with syncope. That's when two people urinate at the same time. Syncope. Problem is, this effect will only last a few seconds at best, or kill them. So I did want to mention that.
I
think the sin stands. There is no off button. You can't turn somebody off and back on. However, you can make them pass out.
No, that's legit. I learned that in martial arts.
Mm-hmm. So anyhow, I did want to mention that. So that can be a little bit of a you done messed up Aaron if you like. But who else? Danae, what do you got?
I was looking at the YouTube comments on Doctor Who just to kind of get an idea of I don't know, like how the general reaction was, and it wasn't too bad. There's a lot of people kind of weighing in things like this. But I'm just going to go with the top comment, which is from Knight Captain Roswell. It says, "It's just for jokes. Don't get mad. It's just for jokes. Don't get mad. It's just for jokes." And I know you saw that one because TV Sins liked it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's good stuff. Jonathan, what do you got?
Oh, our friend Mimi Lord is back.
Good.
Also known as Meme Lord. On the New Mutants, the comment was, "There's nothing new about these mutants."
Nicely done, Mimi Lord. Nicely done indeed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if Mimi Lord comes back, that's who I've got to read. So.
That's right. I wonder if Mimi Lord knows how famous they are. Here,
I also saw
scenes.
Sweet Chicken Sir in the YouTube comments on Doctor Who. It's fun to see like some fans that we are getting to know more and more.
Yeah,
that's really fun.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to Beyond the Sins.
To infinity and beyond.
Somewhere beyond my wild history.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
We're going to chat about something else in the world of pop culture that we have seen recently. And Jonathan's going to start.
My wife and I started watching Bridgerton.
Yeah.
Off of the recommendation of Jeremy's wife, I guess. I don't know if Jeremy's actually seen it, but he was talking about his wife was watching it, so we checked it out. And then we had somebody said, we read somewhere where somebody said it was like Gossip Girl meets The Crown. And so my wife was like, oh, let's check that out.
Because I think Jeremy described it as Pride and Prejudice with a lot of sex. I think that's how Jeremy described it.
It is also that. So this is Shonda Rhimes, Grey's Anatomy, and all those Scandal and all that fun stuff. This is I believe her first Netflix show. I know she's got a big contract with them. I think this is her first one. So, and it's kind of in the same vein as something like, her other stuff, but because it's on Netflix and not on network television, there's I guess there's not necessarily more sex, but there's more graphic sex, I guess would be the way to put it.
Yeah. More skin, more bodies.
But this is set during the early 1800s, and it's dealing with richer society, I guess, and it's during what is called the season, which is when a lot of these families have like balls and parties and celebrations. And for a lot of the reason behind that is they are trying to marry off their daughters. So that is interesting. And actually, I looked into that a little more because I knew like stuff like that happened, but I didn't know that much about it. And looking into that was a little creepy, the practices and stuff. But this is definitely more of an entertaining type thing. This is definitely more of like a soap opera.
Is that called like a cotillion? Like cotillion culture?
Yeah,
like,
I think that's something that's part of it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but they're having they have like all the families, like they'll have these like dances and like balls and parties and stuff like that. And they'll dress up all their daughters, and then all the men meet them. And then the next day, like the daughters will be like in their sitting room, and the men that want to talk to them will come see them and bring them gifts.
Yeah. Cotillion, a formal ball, especially one at which debutantes are presented. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They are presented. But,
yes.
So anyway, so this follows this one woman and this guy that doesn't want to just get married off, and then a girl that wants to actually take her time with this. They basically kind of form a pact where they're going to pretend that they are. You find all this out in the pilot. They're going to pretend that they are together, so they can kind of accomplish some other things. It's not like high art or anything like that. I am enjoying it though. The writing is really good. Like it kind of reminds me of something along the lines of like Gilmore Girls or something like that. Like the writing, it's just really sharp, witty. Probably nothing like these people would actually talk, but it's very entertaining. Mm-hmm. And it's also a movie that it's kind of like something along the lines of like The Favorite, where I can't remember what you call that, but there's a lot of like contemporary music and stuff like that. But it's put into the show itself, into the time period itself.
Yeah, anachronism.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So there's that, and but it definitely kind of has that CW vibe to it, but I think it's a little better than that.
Okay.
So I don't have a whole lot else to say about it, but that was just the one new thing I watched this week, and I totally get why it's really popular, and I'm sure I'll watch future seasons, but we're having a lot of fun with it. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, check it out.
It sounds a little like Outlander to me. Like it sounds like it's got a little bit of that vibe to it. So which I remember from sending the pilot of that. So okay, very nice.
But it's really I should say it is really well acted. Also, it's gorgeous to look at. Like it's the settings and the costumes and everything about it. Like it's a very watchable show.
Yep.
In that way. And so yeah.
Danae, what do you got?
I'm going to talk about a YouTube channel that I found recently. It's the Emily D. Baker. She is a lawyer, and she has a podcast that, I mean, if you're interested in law and things like that, but I just like her. I dig her style. She it's called, she uses, she's a potty mouth or something. So I can't remember like her introduction, but there's this whole like cursey words. She calls them cursey words. And she, I found her through a couple of things. There's like the Britney Spears conservatory or the conservatorship stuff that I've just been like really curious about. And, if you click on one drama channel on YouTube, it's just constantly, you're flooded with just drama channels. And I don't like to get my news from drama channels. There's a couple of them that I'll watch for comedy purposes only. But if I actually want to find out information, drama channels is not the place to find information. And I've just been kind of curious about like the Free Britney thing. Don't ask why. It's just something that's really interesting and intriguing to me. But she goes over the law part of it. And so she's, and I like her style. I like how she talks about things. She's just easy to listen to. I can just stick her on in the background and kind of learn something. She has quite the following and quite an active community. There's an entire like lawyer community on YouTube. Didn't know that, of people who just like discussing law. And so some of the stuff that she covers definitely has a little bit of that drama. But again, I don't mind that because at least I'm hearing the legal parts of it and not the drama part of it, which I am fascinated by. So that's kind of like how I originally found her, was just a genuine curiosity about Britney Spears' conservatorship. And I learned about that. But then now that I'm kind of looking around at stuff, she's covered things like Facebook and Instagram updates. So going into the terms and conditions, and I learn really well by listening. And so to hear her talk about what we're agreeing to by using Instagram or using Facebook or whatever, having someone go over the terms and conditions and kind of explain stuff to me is really, really helpful. So I just wanted to give her a shout out because you might like it too. Emily D. Baker, her YouTube channel is called The Emily D. Baker, Baker. I don't know if there's lots of ways to spell that. Emily is spelled Emily, just in case that's
so
helpful.
That's a B, not a P.
That's correct. Right.
Okay.
Right.
That sounds awesome.
There's also an element to her where, because she is part of the YouTube community, there's a lot of people that send her requests to cover specific things. So there is YouTube drama to be found on her channel, but she goes over the legal side of stuff. So if you're into YouTube drama, great. She just recently did one about Johnny Depp versus The Sun. So like if you see stuff out there that's just, tabloid style stuff and you don't know what's real and what's not, there's an element of her show that does that. But then she also actually dives into stuff that's like,
wait,
like
what
I said,
did you
Facebook
say?
terms
Johnny Depp versus The Sun? What?
The Sun UK. The Sun is like a tabloid.
Johnny Depp sued the Sun for shining too bright in the summer.
Okay, that makes more sense now.
Versus the actual Sun.
No, Johnny Depp is taking on the solar planet. The first result I got after searching Emily D. Baker was the truth about Emily D. Baker. Gung, gung, gung. So I don't know. I'm going to have to watch that and maybe see if Emily's been into some stuff. I don't know. It just cracks me up because YouTube is so like that. Like any YouTube personality is just like,
it's just
drama, and somebody's going to trash them, and then somebody else is going to like cancel them, and then it's crazy.
Well, she has, she does a lot of live stuff, which I also enjoy watching. I think it's really interesting to see how personalities manage a live stream and comments coming in, and then also staying on task.
Mm-hmm.
She does a pretty good job. she did say something recently. There was a bit of drama that was mentioned, and her reaction was just like, I hope none of that's true. I don't know what that's about, but I don't have time for it. So let's get on to the stuff. So I kind of liked how she responded to it. But just like everything on YouTube, it's probably not everybody's cup of tea. You're probably, you know yourself why you go to YouTube and for what. Right now I'm digging Emily. So I just thought I'd talk about her today.
I've been cramming on movies for the end of the year lists and that kind of stuff. Danae's favorite time of the year. Lots of lists.
Yeah, should I just take off my headphones?
No. I mean, you can if you want. I am going to talk about a movie, so I mean, you may want to check out. But one I saw that I was not prepped for at all. I hadn't heard a lot about it, but it is on Hulu, I believe. It's called The Assistant, and I think it's been on Hulu for about a month now, somewhere similar to that. Technically, it was doing the circuit in 2019, I believe, but it's in the awards conversation for this year just because of rules and how stuff works or whatever. But it's Julia Garner, who you may know from the Netflix show. What is that show? It just slipped my brain. With Jason Bateman, Ozark. Duh. Yeah. I Live Here. It's yes, Ozark. That's probably why I forgot.
I'm curious what Netlick is though. I want to watch that, the Netlick show. I'm joking.
Did I say Netlick instead of Netflix? Yeah. So there's L's. So it's bound to happen. So anyhow, so Julia Garner's I've loved her on Ozark, and she absolutely is the center of this movie. This is a day in the life movie, and it is a day in her life as somebody trying to break into the entertainment industry in the office of a big-time producer. And it follows her from when she wakes up in the morning till, when she goes to bed at night. And that is the whole movie. It's one day in her life, and it just follows every moment of that day. Those movies are hit and miss for me because there is something interesting about them structurally that I find engaging, but it can also be a little bit forced or boring at times, depending on how the movie chooses to emphasize, what's happening in the day. But the theme of this movie is really about her naivete about what she does and about the industry she's working in being broken in the way that she's treated as a woman in the workplace. And it is, to me, one of the greatest examples of that because you are living with her through this entire day. So it's not just, taking one thing and blowing it up into, a big court case or a movie or whatever. It's saying this is what happened to her that day. Here's all the little bits and pieces of what it's like to be a woman in the workplace. The little subtle things that men in the workplace may say to you, or the things that you see that are wrong, but how do you handle them? The sexual harassment that's going on around you that maybe you weren't aware of, but now you're waking up to. And there's this incredible scene where she goes to HR, and basically the HR person is telling her, not to complain and to, keep it to herself, and kind of gaslighting her in a lot of ways. Like, you don't really want me to file this, do you? Like, you understand how this could impact, your standing here and that kind of, like, it's a really interesting movie in that regard. And I was kind of blown away by it. I really liked it. It made my best of the year list, and I wanted to let people know about it. So again, it's called The Assistant, and I believe it's on Hulu.
Have you explained, by the way, I do want to see that on your list though? You do top 41. Have you ever said why you do top 41?
I can't tell if you're joking or not.
I can't remember.
No. It's funny. I get that. Obviously, get that question a lot. And Danae is almost rolling her eyes while she's nodding her head. She's heard the answer so many times.
Because it's his favorite number.
Is that your favorite number? See, I couldn't remember if that was it or not.
Yeah, his favorite number is 41.
I have different explanations. I have different explanations I give. There are
Do
many.
You really?
Oh yeah, there are many. I mean, many different reasons. Yeah, there are many different reasons I love the number 41. So I have a lot I could pull from the bag.
I see.
Yeah, you've done that on the show. I know you've done that. I just couldn't remember if that was your number or not because it's been a minute since we had that conversation.
Generally, I will give like big philosophical answers. About what it means, and about the number 42 in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and the number 40 in biblical, and how it's in between the two of them. And then at the end, I will just say, also was the number given to me as a basketball player, and so that's why I like it.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, I really do like the number, and so it's kind of stuck, and it's one of those people know me for that number now, and I like that. That's kind of fun.
I just didn't know if it was like you tried to do a top 40. and there was always one you felt was left off. So
I've talked about that too. The idea that there's always one more that you want to talk about.
And that's like, when everybody talks about like the college football playoffs and stuff, they're always like, no, we need 8. But if we had 8, you'd want 12, right? Or, it's, you can never be happy.
You can be happy. 16. As long as you do 16, if you're between 16 and 17, you don't have a reason to argue. Like,
Well, I mean, you don't, but you will.
Well, sure. Yeah. No, I mean, there's 8 now that get chosen in the men's basketball. And people still talk about the bubble. The difference is, wake up, Danae, wake up.
Oh, sorry.
The difference is that argument can happen, but you still know, look, if you were really wanted to do it, you'd be in the top 10.
If you're really my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyhow. So there you go. Check out The Assistant. I think it's worth your while on Hulu. That's going to wrap it up, guys.
Hey, it's our 80th show as well.
That's right. It won't it won't really mean anything until it's 81, though. It's that, there's always going to be,
oh my God.
that one more.
Got to be divisible by 9 for it to matter.
Yeah, something like that. That's going to wrap it up for Behind the Scenes this week. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribed, to go ahead and leave a comment or rating as well. If you've got anything that you want to send us, you can mail it to us. P.O. Box 881, Republic, Missouri 65738. You can hang out with us on Twitter. I'm at Aaron Dicer. She is at Danae Says.
DeneeSays.
And he is at Sam Loomis 13. So for Jonathan Watkins, Danae Hughes, The Game of Sequence, and myself, we will see you next week.
Happy Bobblehead Day.
It works. It works.
Thanks for listening. Send any feedback to bts@cinemasins.com. And be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment. Find more ways to connect by visiting cinemasins.com/BTS.
Hello, this is Danae, and I am blasted!
How you doing, man?
Pretty good. Tired for some reason, but pretty good.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because it's the first week of January. It's the worst week of the year.
It does seem that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Objectively.
Why is it the worst week of the year?
Objectively, it's the worst week of the year because you're coming right out all the adrenaline of the holidays. You've been eating like a madman, and now all of a sudden you have to deal with the repercussions and stop eating like that. And then also because it's still winter and so much winter left.
Nothing wrong with winter.
Shame on you for lying.
What's wrong with winter? I mean, I just...
It's cold. I hate cold. I will take high 90s over cold, any version of cold any day.
You can make yourself warmer. You can't do anything about if you're hot. Like you can't, if you're naked, you're just naked and hot.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I checked out and came back to naked and hot. It got really bad over this last break, though. From Christmas till New Year's, we've just been doing our normal night owl routine. So we pulled her out of bed this morning at like 8:30, and she's just like, I don't want to be awake. It was really cute. She was like a little floppy, adorable baby girl. It was sweet.
Yeah, we're like 11 or 12. That's typically us. But my daughter, she talks on the phone and stuff now with her friends. So like over Christmas break, she's been staying up till probably 2, 3.
Okay, so let's talk about how Aaron does bedtimes with his kids. Aaron has a chart that he created when his kids were toddlers that dictates the bedtime for each child based on age. The reason Aaron did this is because his children will argue that their brother gets to stay up later than they do. And so Aaron now has something to point to and say, it was the same for all of you at the same age. That's why Aaron does it the way he does it. I just pulled it up.
No way.
The chart. Your bedtime is 7:30 until you're in the first grade, so that you get 11 hours of sleep. Your bedtime is 8 o'clock in the second, third, and fourth grade. 8:30 in fifth, sixth, and seventh grade. 9 o'clock, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. In 11th grade in senior year, it is at your discretion, but can be changed by parents. So you do not have a bedtime starting in your junior year.
I think my daughter's bedtime's always been like 9, because that's what mine always was. So,
right.
And really, it's more like 10. So we never did the 7:30. That just seems like torture.
I base that. Yes, I am being dead. We base that on the recommended sleep for ages, and so we assumed the hour that they would be getting up for school or whatever, and then just subtracted the recommended sleep from that for their bedtimes at certain ages.
We're probably bad parents, but
that is not what I was saying.
But my daughter's she had a much more fun childhood.
Correct.
So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's a trade-off.
I think we're probably going to end up being more like you guys, Jonathan. But I do love the idea of consistency. That's an interesting idea.
It's just, I gave up on that a long time ago.
We're also getting like books and material about independence and such. So she wants to read about how diapers are not forever. So we got a book on that and she's really excited. It's supposed to come on Wednesday. And so this morning she's like, is my book on diapers coming this week? And I said, yes.
That's funny. I asked my wife the same thing.
She'll be 4 in April. So we're getting close to her 4th birthday.
420.
Sweet. Oh, that's right. I forgot her birthday's 420. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And awesome.
How perfect is it that my first child was born on April 1st and Danae's first child was born on 420? How perfect
it's so
that?
perfect.
That's crazy.
Mine's July 1st.
There
That's
you go.
cool.
That's because you love the summer so much.
Cool. Yeah.
Earlier today when we were doing our morning show, I said, what's the show with the 2 guys that try to make stuff in the workshop?
You didn't even say in the workshop. You did not say in the workshop.
I was trying to say in the workshop. I was trying to think of the word workshop. That's right. Because I was like,
You just said, what's the show with the 2 guys that make stuff?
And he's like, and he just throws it out there.
Mythbusters.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm like, this is what's amazing about Aaron Dicer. How do you do that?
I never would have gone to Mythbusters. I don't know what I would have said.
It's a gift.
I believe it's pronounced gift.
Oh, my God.
I have some fun hair. Love it.
You do.
It's all we can see of you. It's just, I feel like we need to take a screenshot someday and share it because essentially it's just a round circle, and at the very top of that are glasses, eyes, and then hair. That's it. That's what it looks like.
Do you want me to sound good, or do you want to be able to see my mouth?
I want to see your mouth.
Oh my God!
I'm definitely staying behind this mic.
My husband's the same way. He
with
is
baseball.
so good with statistics and numbers and.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, he's a baseball guy. So.
He's kind of built this way where, like, and even dates and stuff. His quote just earlier today was, "Don't doubt the date guy." He sort of like really embraces that it's his thing.
And also, don't date the doubt guy. You know, both of those are very important, life skills.
I completely agree with you. Should we start the show?
We should. I'm
Aaron Dicer.
Oh, we have an alternate intro. Very nice.
I got nothing to celebrate. What's next week? Next week's this will drop on the 7th. This week, I guess.
Well, Jonathan, I will give you something you can use if you want. You could just go to like a random holidays website. There are many of them, and I guarantee you there will always be something you could tell people happy such and such of, because there's always a holiday. Every day is a holiday.
It is Pioneers Day in Liberia on the 7th.
There you go. Happy Liberian Pioneers Day.
You know what makes me a little bit sad? We don't ever get to talk about Ted.
Ted?
Yeah, because that was like
the
a
movie?
the Patreon only video.
Oh, yeah. Do you want a moment? Do you want a moment here in the outtakes, Danae, to talk about Ted?
You wrote that too, didn't you? I did actually want to hear Danae talk about a movie where a bear has sex with a woman.
Right?
A teddy bear, you know.
Was it?
Yeah,
was it a cucumber? Did he use produce? Because he doesn't have any genitalia.
Mm-hmm.
Did you actually like the movie?
He did say that he had sex with her with like a turnip, and then he sold the turnip or whatever it was to like a family.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. So
a lot of teddy bears come with accessories. So, you know, there's all sorts of things.
I've only seen it one time. I didn't really like it. So.
Oh, really? Why? I wonder why.
Jonathan asked a good question. Did you like the movie, Danae?
No.
It's funny though. You have to admit it's occasionally funny. Like
occasionally,
Seth MacFarlane, for everything that we make fun of him rightfully for, does have a well-defined sense of humor. Like he is. I do find him funny.
I find it's better than Family Guy, and it's way better than A Million Ways to Die in the West or whatever that terrible movie was.
Okay, so here's what I wrote down. And the reason that I saw this is I'm preparing for the show today, and I have this one tab that I will never close, and it just says Ted on my notes. I was like, oh my God, I just need to go ahead and get rid of that. But it just it's interesting because that we were going to release it on the main channel, and we released it to Patreon only.
Yeah.
And it's
for
just,
the Sin Club.
It's done. I wrote down, this is one that I didn't want to like, but I did laugh a few times despite my not wanting to.
Yeah, exactly.
The part that made me laugh was when Mila is cleaning up the hooker shit off the floor, and she gets some on her thumb, and Mark says, "You can never cook with that hand again." That whole scene.
That's the other part of it. Wahlberg is really funny in that movie. He's great in comedies.
I thought so.
I agree.
Unexpectedly.
Other guys.
And also just acting with nothing there. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And making it work to where it was kind of believable.
Right.
I also like that it's just everybody just accepts that this bear is sentient. But I like that. Like I just appreciated that they didn't try to go into that. It was just like that almost made it better.
I agree. It did.
I just didn't find it that funny.
Very, very cynical though. Like that he's the only one anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not, I mean, he has a little bit of like celebrity status, but they made him like a ex-celeb or a has-been celebrity, like a washed up celebrity essentially. But I learned something. Oh, my favorite part of the entire movie though. Do you want to make a guess of mine? Do you guys remember the movie at all?
I don't remember it well enough.
I don't know
to guess
that I
a favorite
remember
part.
it well enough. I remember that he has sex with the cashier. That's about because
that
was just crazy.
It was a really interesting moment.
And Thunder Buddies. I remember Thunder Buddies.
Yeah. So the part that I sinned in that scene was the shoes that she's wearing while they were having
of course
sex.
you did.
Because I'm like, those are the shoes you wear whenever you're standing up at a grocery store for 8-hour shift? I don't think so, because they were the really big hall ones. The part that made me, I had to stop and laugh, and then I showed it to Justin, and I laughed and laughed, is the fight scene. When they're in the hotel.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
And he just attacks. It goes on for so long.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things we've talked about. The more it goes on, the more like the funnier it becomes, and then it kind of dulls, and then all of a sudden he's smacking Mark's bare ass with like this antenna, and it's just the dumbest thing. But it's incredibly believable in a weird way because they're just like tearing up this room, and it's just this teddy bear attached to this guy, and I don't know why, but scene killed me.
Yeah, that's the Kristen Shaw is a horse thing, though, right? It goes on so long. It's funny, then it's not, then it kind of becomes funny again.
And it reminded me of like a Bourne Identity fight where like the music cuts out and it's just straight up oofs and like punches, but it's a teddy bear attached to a person, and it was actually kind of cleverly done too. I watched it enough times that I still can remember the fight sequence pretty well.
Chris, I never saw the sequel, but Chris, just the other day, Chris told me that Ted 2 is funnier than Ted, which got me like, do I need to see Ted 2? But I really don't want to. But is it just because it's like they just kind of go overboard with it, like it's just nuts? Or
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I will answer both of your questions.
That happens with comedy sequels a lot.
Ted 2 is funnier than Ted, and no, you don't need to see it. So
that's funny.
Consider your questions answered.
Yeah. And also, I did play. So I played the fight scene for my husband, and then I played the "Fuck You Thunder" song for him as well, which I also found to be my most favorite part, as far as like the parts that.
See, it's funny. It's a funny movie. It really is.
But the rest of the movie is so fucking dumb, and so many of the jokes don't land for me, and that's Seth MacFarlane for me. Like Seth's jokes don't land for me, and so the 3 standout laughs are enough for me to just like be like, yeah, I laughed a few times. Here's the moments I laughed. I couldn't have told you what they were until I read my notes, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm like, oh my God, but that's me. You know, I forget my stuff. That's not anything surprising.
Here's my mouth.
Here's my mouth. Jonathan's out of context quote for the episode. Here's my mouth.
It's like me. What was it? Ass was the one we ass.
Jonathan's.
Here it is, Aaron.
Here's my mouth. That is, man, the foreplay, the talk, the dirty talk, Jonathan. It's too much.
I have to tell you one thing, though, that I learned. It's Teddy Ruxpin, pin, not bin.
Did you think it was Teddy Ruxpin?
Yeah, it's Ruxpin.
Yeah.
Pin with a P.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had no fucking idea.
That's amazing.
That was like the height of technology at one point.
I thought it was a mistake. I was like, no, it's Teddy Ruxpin, right? Like, and I go look at it. No.
Putting a fucking cassette tape into a bear was like, everybody's like, oh my God. This is amazing.
I don't remember it. Like, I remember, I've hered Teddy Ruxpin, but I always thought it was a B.
Nope.
Anyway,
I think
that
we're
blew
a few
my
years
mind.
different. So that's probably why, because I was a little old for it.
She also thought they were called Cabbage Batch kids.
Nice.
She had to look that one up as well.
Yeah, like a batch of children.
Yeah, of course, Cabbage Batch.